Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. How are you all doing, gang? Any early signs of cabin fever out there? And do you have any tips on how you're staying sane and how you're staying positive during this unprecedented time where so much of the world is under lockdown? But as for me and everybody listening out there, we're all still here together, aren't we? Just like any other day. Now, although I am trying to be good and get myself fit and focus on my work, I'll be straight with you. I do love unwinding, watching a box set now and again. But one of the problems I'm increasingly encountering is that there are so many streaming services out there now, isn't there? Such as HBO, Disney, Apple TV, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and they're just a few that rolled off the tip of my tongue there. And for me, that creates two problems. Problem one, I spend far too much time searching, trying to find something to watch, than actually watching anything. But possibly my biggest frustration of all is when I get midway through my favourite show that has been sold on one platform, but then after a few months, it then completely disappears from it and appears somewhere else on another. So I have to hunt it down and find where it's gone to. But what if technology could make all those first world problems disappear? Well, let me tell you, a quick Google search later reveals it already has. A company called VUniverse is an online platform that streamlines the way consumers find and watch content from all those popular streaming services and makes it so much easier by recommending movies and TV shows based on your unique personal tastes and directing users on where they can find them. So, my understanding is VUniverse allows anyone to simplify how movies and shows are discovered, consumed and discussed, all on one convenient platform. So upon learning this, I was hooked straight away, and it feels like the planets had aligned perfectly for this company just at the right time, because that is a service that would be perfect for everyone under lockdown right now. And I also discovered that VUniverse was named as one of the top 5 finalists in the AI and machine learning category at the 2020 Southwest by Southwest Innovation Awards. And we all know what happened next, though. The event was cancelled. So it sounds to me like we've got a big story on our hands here. So buckle up and hold on tight. And I will beam your ears all the way back stateside so we can speak with Evelyn Waters and Monique Brady, who are going to come on the podcast today and tell us all about VUniverse. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, my name's Evelyn Waters, and I am the CEO of a company called VUniverse. I'm on today with Monica Brady, my COO, and Julie Rieger, our chief strategist. So say hello.
Hi, everybody. This is Julie. So, Neil, I am the former president, chief data strategist, and head of media at 20th Century Fox Film. And I'm also a podcast host, like yourself, and an author of a book called The Ghost Photographer. So I am weird in at least 2 of 3 things.
And do you want to give your podcast a quick plug? What's the name of your podcast while you're here?
Well, we don't compete, just so you know. My podcast is called Insider's Guide to the Other Side, and it's an iHeartRadio production. But you can find us on wherever you find your podcasts. That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Brilliant. And Monica.
Hi, everybody. I'm Monica Brady, and I am the COO of VUniverse, and happy to be here with you.
Now, VUniverse is an online platform that streams the way consumers find and watch content from popular streaming services. But I'm conscious we will have a lot of people tuning in and hearing about you guys for the first time. So I appreciate it's a big question, but can you tell me more about exactly what it is, what makes it unique, and the kind of problems that you're solving for your clients?
Well, we have 4 pillars of in our platform. So what today's consumer is struggling with is to finding what to watch. So if they're not within a series, it takes them about 20 minutes to find something to watch. And then when they sit down, they get frustrated to the point where they'll just go and purchase the next thing that they think, because they don't want to waste any more time. So our best resource is time. So with our platform, it helps viewers find what to watch fast. And it takes all your streaming services and organizes them into one place. So you know what you have to watch and where you have to watch it. And our algorithm is learning as you rate movies and TV series of what you like, and can offer up good suggestions of what to watch next. So our tagline is know what to watch, because, for that reason alone.
I can't tell you how excited I am to hear about this, because as I'm one of those cord cutters, along with so many other people that will be listening to this. And by the time you've got a Netflix app, an Amazon Prime app, Hulu, and Apple TV, HBO, the list goes on and on. And if you just want to watch a particular film or TV series, knowing which one of those it's going to be on is an absolute killer, isn't it? So there must be a great demand for this.
So what you're talking about is the utility pillar from our platform. So that's just merely when you know what you want to watch, we'll tell you where it is within your existing services. But what's really exciting is beyond that, the algorithm that we have built will tell you, based on your preferences, other suggestions of movies and streaming series that you would most likely want to watch, which, saves you all, the time of, those fruitless searches, or, points you in the right direction when you're watching with your best friend, because you both have your unique user profiles that will, combine and, together tell you what you're most likely to want to watch. So, there's a lot of great functionality here, along with, the organization and community, which, people are going to find they need more than ever, even as we all self-isolate, that you can share your lists of movies that you like with your friends, so you feel like you're, connected.
And Neil, if you don't mind, this is
Sure.
Julie, I would like just to add a piece to that, is when we get recommendations from many of the other streaming services, just like the individual services themselves, they can be based on so many different things. And one thing that can be really frustrating for people is when you're being served shows, movies, programs, whatever you want to call them, and it's usually based on the 80-20 rule. So you have probably 20% of a certain universe that is watching 80% of the content. And so for instance, I'm not a big watcher. I mean, I watch, but I don't sit all day and watch shows. But the recommendations that I get are based on people who watch all day long. Well, that doesn't necessarily meet my needs. So I think what's so fascinating and so needed with VUniverse is that it's really about you and your likes and dislikes, and will help you find what you want, not what a bunch of folks in college maybe that are watching that drive a particular recommendation.
And also, you mentioned a few moments ago, we are living in a time where streaming services are playing a huge role in our lives all across the world, as listeners are currently self-isolating. So I'm curious, how has the pandemic actually impacted what you do there at VUniverse?
It sped things along quite a bit. The demand is ever increasing because people are watching all day long, and so they're speeding through their two watch lists. So we just have to roll out even faster now is what is happening.
Yeah, I mean, we all really wish that we could have it out now, because people are living with enough frustration in their day-to-day life that this would actually help alleviate just a layer of it. Because as you know, Neil, with your habits, you like Evelyn had said, you spend a lot of time searching, right? And it's frustrating. Yeah. And if we could just remove that piece for people, we would be really happy to do that. But unfortunately, we're not at that place yet to be that broad.
But interesting, because the pandemic itself had a direct effect. We were fortunate this year that we were selected as a finalist for an award in innovation at South by Southwest for AI and machine learning, which was a huge honor. but we all know what happened to South by Southwest. So that was our soft launch for our product. So, it's not
curtailed. Yeah,
it's not without a bunch of repercussions or ramifications, because it's just crazy and unprecedented these times, and it causes the entrepreneur to, pivot, rethink, and, kind of find smarter, better ways to reach your audience, because that is what these times call on us to do.
And kudos to you both for being able to laugh about that, because like you said, South by Southwest, that was a huge moment for you guys. It must have just felt like the rug was snatched from under your feet almost.
Yes, yes, it did.
And I think the laugh is more because there's no other option at this point. We're like, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think things are just not to be believed, and it's like, wow, okay, this is the hand we're dealt on this. So, okay, we roll on.
And of course, there's a lot of talk in the media at the moment about the streaming wars, or the so-called streaming wars, and the potential consolidation on the horizon. So can you tell me a little bit more about the effects the streaming wars have had on these established streaming services?
Well, from our point of view, the more OTT services, the better, the better for the consumer. There's a lot of, different genres served. There's, a lot of different business models with all the, disparate OTT services. So from our opinion, it's the more the better, that this is good for the consumer. We serve the consumer, and we just help them navigate all these OTT services better.
I think that the fallout from the pandemic will really be defining so much of how many services can stay alive. If there will be consolidation, because I think that's, people will drive that, because there's no doubt, if you just look at the human psychology of this, is that, post-pandemic will certainly bring certain types of PTSD to people, and whether it's about finances or about socialization, which will really be driving, I think, how many services can fill those voids, fill that space.
So do you think consolidation or even collaboration within the streaming industry is pretty much inevitable out there?
Well, that would be my vote.
Yeah.
My vote is yes. Yeah, I mean, there's so much we don't know. I mean, it's at this point, I don't think everybody has a crystal ball that can. Did you notice I said not everybody? That doesn't mean that's not a crystal ball. Can really see what this will be. But what we do know and what we do understand, because of how the service has been built, is that we do understand so much about human behavior, and when this is unprecedented time for all of us who are alive, and we just know that to answer your question a month ago is very different than how we would answer it today, and possibly even different how we answer it a month from now, because we have to wait and see how people respond.
And you did mention human behavior there, so I've got to ask, I mean, what kind of impacts do you think the launch of more streaming services will actually have on the viewing habits as a whole across that saturated space? Honestly, it's great for you guys there, because it gives people more content. It's great for users as well, but do you think it'll have any particular impacts on those viewing habits?
I would say yes, because I think that even after this, people will be practicing social distancing still. Yeah. I think that's part of what will happen when you look at the human behavior part, and we are always hungry for something new or something familiar. I mean, I will confess, I watched Golden Girls last night on CMT.
You weren't supposed to tell that.
I still have cable. They don't like when I'm so painfully honest of my crazy habits, my oddities. But that was the point of that was being more, was having something that felt good. And I think that people want to find those things. I think people also want programming that's new. And no matter what happens or what has happened, content is still king. It just is. And so as long as there's enough interesting programming out there for people, ideally the services will find a way to survive.
I wanted to jump in a second on that, because one of the impetus behind the creation of VUniverse is the realization that we're just at such an incredible time, And with all the great content that exists to this date, like that there's different, OTT services that will serve various niches that you can access most anything that's been created or produced by going to your computer. You can find it and somebody's going to serve it up to you. And that's a product of all these, OTT streaming services that deliver you what you want. Then the need for VUniverse is something to help, order all that. And so from our point of view, there should never be a bad night. You pick a movie and it's not right for you, or you were told by an algorithm that served it to you that was not geared for you. There shouldn't be that. There's no excuse for that in this day and age with all the tools that we're creating and tools that we'll put at your fingertips, that you just won't have a bad night.
That is a great point there about serving a variety of different niches there. Well, I mentioned consolidation a few moments ago, but actually, do you think there could actually be even more room for even more services to reach those niche audiences?
It could. Like long tail of entertainment. Yeah. There's always
could.
An audience. Mm-hmm.
It could. I think the biggest factor for the streaming services is really how they're structured. So if you think about content programming as you do like the housing market, there are people that own, there are people that rent. And those that own are going to have I believe, a higher likelihood of staying afloat during a time like this. Because if you rent, the owner might take it back. Does that make sense,
yeah.
Neil? That it's because renting is a little scarier, right? And the same holds true in the housing market as it does in the streaming business. Well, with anything, same holds true with data. If you rent data versus own data, and the ones that own are more likely to be able to, because I think they have a different cost model.
It really does. But I'll give you a great story on that, because I was currently halfway through Succession season 2, which is an amazing, and I was just getting up towards the finale, and then Sky TV, the big provider over here, removed it from their schedule, and then the only way to get in hold of it was actually renting episodes from that moment on. So I mean, but for people that don't understand how that happens or why that happens, can you just give a brief overview of that content licensing rights and the kind of impact that it has on those multiple streaming services?
Well, all of those deals, many of them are legacy deals, and the deals they do are up to certain seasons. Yeah. So the one who owns it will sell what they want to sell, and they want to, for shows like Succession, great example. I mean, there's so many of them out there where streaming really helped them prop up, and be successful for their latter seasons. So I think that's how they're built. And some are long-term deals, some are short-term deals. I saw this when I was at Fox, and those many of those deals are starting to come up. And so you're going to see a lot of shuffling between services. I think we've already seen shuffling from Netflix over to Disney Plus. Yeah. That's probably the biggest one that we've seen, especially when they bought Fox, which is why they bought Fox. I mean, you want to talk about the importance of content being king. One of the biggest acquisitions made in our industry was when Disney bought 20th Century Fox, so they could own it and not rent it.
And that's, it's very confusing to the viewer, because the viewer doesn't know who made what show. They don't know what Warner Brothers made. So that's where VUniverse comes in with that discovery and utility, is that you can type in Succession and then it pulls up right on your desktop where Succession is playing in the services you already have. So you wouldn't miss a beat on a night like that when Sky pulls it and then you have to go rent it somewhere else. So it leaves the viewer confused as to where their programming went, because they just don't know all those those deals behind the scenes and stuff like that. They just know the title of their show. I want to watch Friends and I want to watch it now. So where is it? So we're like the channel guide for the cord cutter, cord never generation. So,
and I think if we keep our eyes open on services like Hulu, now that there is more of a complete ownership of Disney, they will likely be in the position of renting, and so you're going to see more shifting across networks our streaming services with that as well.
And that, for me, is where VUniverse solves a real problem. Because back to that Succession scenario I find myself in there, when it's not there, the first thing I do, okay, I'll open up Amazon Prime. Where is it there? And I go on, open up Netflix. But having just one dashboard where I can just see instantly, where can I get this episode? That solves such a huge problem for confused viewers, doesn't it?
And not paying more, by the way, because I had the same experience you did. I was fit to be tied. See, that's a Arkansas saying. I was fit to be tied the other night. I was watching something, and I already subscribed to the streaming service and to the cable. Like, I got everything going on in this house, and they wanted me to pay.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So there's nothing that upsets a customer then if you already subscribe and they're saying, oh no, you have to pay for this. You're like, well, wait a minute, what? So there's a lot of kinks they have to get out, I think. And they need to understand their customer, which I believe that's what VUniverse does better than any of the services is just to understand what the subscriptions are and where to find it. One, right, like we've already said, to alleviate frustration, save time, but also I don't want to have to pay again for it.
Yeah.
Neil, I just wanted to add that we hear you and we're here for you.
Well, you've sold it. You've sold me already. I'm already waiting there. So can you tell me more about the launch of the platform and what listeners can expect?
Oh, we're rolling out to our wait list. So if you're listening to this, you can go to www.VUniverse, VUniverse.com and sign up on the wait list. And we roll out week over week. We do 20% more onto the wait list. And if you share more of it with your friends to have them sign up, you go up higher on the wait list. So it's a limited access right now. So special people.
And what markets do you serve at the moment? Because obviously I'm here in the UK. Is it just US to begin with? Or? Yeah,
we're domestic right now. And then we plan to go out around the world in the upcoming months ahead.
And how properly navigate the GDPR.
Yeah. Yes. And how does it all work? So if we've got a few people listening in the US right now thinking, yes, this is the service for me, they get themselves on that wait list. Once they are allowed in, what happens next? How do they get the most out of it?
Well, so immediately they're asked to rate 10 movie titles, and the movie titles are divisive on purpose so that it learns your likes and dislikes right away. They're movies that have reactions that can be quantified, like either love it or you hate it. It's nothing like that is in the middle of the road, so that the algorithm is learning about you immediately. So then once you rate 10 titles, the algorithm can serve you up recommendations, or you can go on and rate more movies. We have 192,000 movie titles in our database and 68,000 streaming series titles in the database. So it's really actually quite fun, and you can spend hours just rating titles. I went to NYU here in the States for film, and I did thousands of titles because I was having so much fun. But the AI just gets smarter and smarter about your likes and dislikes and can offer you up more things to watch. So the onboarding process is less than a minute, and it's fun and fast, and then you're in the platform.
And my goal, Monica, is to be the first human to go through rate all titles. Do you think I can do it?
I believe in you.
Sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, it's a lot of movies and streaming. Yeah.
So for everyone listening that wants to rush and get themselves on that wait list, what's the best way of doing it? Can you just point them in the direction of your website, and also how they can contact your team if they've got any questions at all?
Sure. By all means, reach out. Evelyn at VUniverse.com. You can reach out to us. You sign up at VUniverse.com, as Monica mentioned, and we will get to you, and we'll bring you in. We're excited about the rollout. What's that, Monica?
I just wanted you're Evelyn, but over there they pronounce it Evelyn. So it's EVELYN at VUniverse, VUniverse.com. And the website is VUniverse.com.
Fantastic. Well, I always say at the end of every episode that technology works best when it brings people together. But what I love about what you're doing here is you're using it for the right reasons. Again, using technology to remove friction, remove frustration, and remove confusion too. And make sure you never have a bad night in again, which is a great tagline. If you're not using that already, you need to be.
He uses it every day.
Love it, Neil.
But thank you so much for everyone for joining me on the call today. I really appreciate it. And as soon as it comes to the UK, I will be signing up, I promise you.
Oh, we love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neil.
Take care, Neil.
Yeah, bye for now.
Man, how cool were Evelyn and Monica there? I mean, and when this madness clears, I think I could have a whole heap of fun chatting with them in person. And this conversation might have just inspired me to add road trip to Arkansas on my bucket list once all this madness has cleared. And it really sounds like my path to the finale of season 2 of Succession is close to being solved with the upcoming launch of the VUniverse platform. So I cannot thank them enough today for coming on and talking about the effects the streaming wars have had on established streaming services and possibly the necessity of consolidation and collaboration within that industry, and the impact the launch of more streaming services will ultimately have on our viewing habits in an already saturated space. But of course, the good news of all that, an increasing amount of streaming services means we need a platform like VUniverse, so we're not hopping from app to app to app, just trying to find something to watch. Wouldn't it be great just to have one dashboard where everything that we need is there? But over to you, listeners and streamers, wherever you're listening to me today. Will you be putting your name on the VUniverse waitlist? And if you do and you get in, remember, report back to me. Let me know how you got on. And also, if you need anything from me at all, or just want to say hello, email me directly, techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll find my social channels where you can connect, send me a direct message, whatever it is you want to do. And there's also nearly 1,200 podcast episode interviews, which should keep you busy for a few months. Now, because VUniverse is not available in the UK yet, I'm going to go try and find something to watch, which might take me till tomorrow to do that. But keep your recommendations coming in if you're binge watching your way through anything. But other than that, it's time for me to check out now. So thanks for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.